Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so listen to Stephen A. Smith talk about LeBron James, and he essentially said the GOAT conversation is over. He said that LeBron James is now disqualified after this particular season where the Los Angeles Lakers failed to make the play-in tournament. Injuries and stuff like that, we know what it was. If you happen to be watching this video and it's not that era, 2021, 2022 Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most disappointing teams, if not the most disappointing team in NBA history, just concluded their season mathematically anyway. There's a couple more games to play, but they're officially out of the playoffs. And now everybody's just kind of reacting to it. This happened last night, blowout fashion, in a game where they had a lead in the first half, just like they have in a lot of games early this year. And they fizzled out and ultimately just cowered to the power of the Phoenix Suns. So, they were able to effectively knock us out of playoffs, knock our season off more or less out of the play-in tournament runnings for the second year in a row. They got us. So, at this point in time, the conversation for me is just listening to what the guys are saying and reacting to it. I think I was more so coming here to kind of zero in on a point that they were saying about how, LeBron James, more or less, well, let me just say like this. If Michael Jordan was in a season like that, with his team playing as badly as this team did, and things are going as wrong as they did, you would have heard about some violence taking place in the locker room. He'd have punched somebody. Like, there would have been people actually getting assaulted. Kobe Bryant is having a season like this, you get practice footage of him cussing people out. Just completely belittling people with his mouth. Just cussing them all the way out. Letting them know exactly how useless they are to him. That's what happens. LeBron James has a season like this. You look over at the bench, they're laughing. You look over at him, he's doing Lobo's promotions the day after we get knocked off. You see on his Twitter, he's got some money stuff going on. You listen to him talk, he's saying, well, we just didn't have enough. Injuries this. What could be perceived as excuses. It's just a different style of person. And I think that his personality caters to the acceptance of certain things that killers are never going to accept. When we talk about killers, meaning players who are going to raise holy hell to win a basketball game. Players who are going to get better as the pressure gets more increased. As the stakes get higher, they grow to be more lethal, more hungry, bloodthirsty for victory. That's the type of players that LeBron James needs to be compared to, because the players who were as great as him always had that gift. He's the only one that didn't have that trait. You know what I mean? He's the only one who could more or less be satisfied with watching others control whether or not they win or lose. Yeah, Michael passes to the Paxton or to Kerr, but it's him who's basically determining whether the Bulls come and go. And while that's the case with Bron, it's more so inclusive in his style. And I tell you, it's a lot of stuff that happens with the Lakers that I think was just about him conserving energy after spending so much time over the years on the floor, trying to keep his energy high. So I understood why he approached the game the way that he did, but I just don't think that the details of that is going to be kind to him. I don't think people are going to care about whether or not he was able to get through the season as it pertains to if he played too hard on this play or played too hard on that play, would he make it through? I don't think people are going to care about that. All they're going to see is he didn't raise holy hell to get victories like the other legends that are up there with him. And that's just something that I think works against him, And it also speaks to his unique level of greatness, because it seems like the only person who can be that great with that trait is him. No, everybody else has to be a psychotic, more or less obsessive competitor, and the game comes easy to him. He makes sure he plays the game the way he was coached to play it. He makes the right play. He reads the right reads, and he just uses his body in the way that he can. And if he wins a basketball game, it's great. If he doesn't, tomorrow's another day. We go home. Got a beautiful family. Got a beautiful life. Got my school. Everything. Like, I got a lot of other things going on that make this life a success. I'm a winner regardless. Competitors who he's competing with, they they attack stuff like that. That energy that he has is food to those guys, just by sheer nature. Like literally, like if it wasn't for his overall ability, he would get devoured in the NBA in that era. Like I'm the person that thinks he would be fine in that era because of his skill set, but the mentality, he would have to adjust his mentality drastically, like absolutely and utterly drastically. And I think that's why he doesn't get the respect of some of the guys from the previous eras. Why a guy like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has no problems throwing sly shots at him or telling the world he doesn't agree with him on certain things. I think it has to do with that. It's like, and I think I have to admit, and I have to say this honestly, I think they resent the fact that he can be that way and still be successful, because they couldn't. They had to claw, fight, kill, maim, and be seen a certain way, not receive all that love, and certainly not get that kind of money, right? Because I think that has a lot to do with his comfort. And you're a billionaire and you running around the basketball floor, having already accomplished everything there is to accomplish at year 19, it's hard to be depressed about a basketball team that just basically imploded around you. These idiots want to make bad decisions, let them make bad decisions. I'm still going home and I'm a billionaire, and that's kind of what the problem is. That wasn't the mentality of a Michael Jordan. That ain't how that worked. He wasn't moved by that kind of stuff. He wasn't moved by all that stuff. Nah. My happy family's cool, but if I'm losing, they're gonna be unhappy because I ain't gonna be happy in this house if I'm losing. Like Kobe, I don't know his situation was like that, but like he wouldn't be home. I lost that night. Cool. I'm gonna be in the gym till 3:30. Then I'm gonna go to sleep for an hour, and I'm coming back, and I'm gonna be working out for the next 8 hours. Then I'm gonna go do some more shooting around, maybe go home and eat. Then I'm gonna go work out some more. Like that's how Kobe reacted to this type of ineptitude. Otherwise, he's hurt and he's rehabbing, putting them same efforts into trying to get back. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like that. That's what he's competing with. It's this a psychotic type of obsessive competitors, and the world is conditioned to that. So when we see you're the first of your kind. We don't know what we're looking at, and most importantly, we don't know how to respect it because it seems like you're cool with losing. Because that's how we perceive it when you're not a killer. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what LeBron runs into. He's the first of his kind. Now, I think the GOAT conversation is not over at all. Why? Because you have to see what LeBron's impact does to the game over time. That's what you need to do. See, Michael Jordan was able to show us he was the GOAT. Why? Because he had a whole clone come after him named Kobe Bryant, who literally was like the third greatest player ever played the game. His clone was the third greatest player to play the game. So that tells you that he left an impact on his game that's unmatched. Bron, we haven't seen the new Bron come. We haven't seen necessarily the kids that come from Bron accomplish what it is that shows us the type of impact that he's had on the game, in my opinion. I don't see the Bron clone around. I thought Ben Simmons may turn into that. Haven't had a chance to see him play enough to even know if he can become that. Maybe you look at a guy like Zion Williamson, see remnants of that type of skill. Maybe you look at this guy like maybe Scotty Barnes, say he can develop into something like that. But you don't see Bron around. They don't. Where is his imprint on the game? Where is the guy that you say, okay, that's the LeBron clone, and you clearly see that prototype? I mean, that ain't no stopping that. I think Bron's the only one. So you have to see over time where he shakes out. And if you start seeing more and more Luka Doncic, I think is a good example of that. You see more and more of those kids coming around, then you start understanding what Bron really was about in regards to this game, in my humble opinion. And you're not going to know if he's the GOAT in 2021 or 2022 rather. You're not going to be able to figure that out right now. I do look at Michael Jordan's record and say his finals record was unblemished, blah, blah, blah. But I'd be lying to you guys if I didn't say LeBron's longevity makes it a little more of a closer argument than people are allowing it to be. Let's just keep it real. Not only is he fighting with that aspect of the game, but he's also fighting with the guys who were the most durable to ever play and who had the longest longevity and who was able to play at the highest level outwards into the end of their career. Who else has played at this level at his age? No one, not a soul. So if you can look at Michael Jordan's wonderful record that he was able to put up while he was in his prime, then you need to understand the extended, prolonged prime of a LeBron James, right? Prolonged prime, because one could argue he's still in it, and weigh that against the fact that he, has had more opportunities at NBA Finals than Michael Jordan to begin with. He's been there more times. So you could say he has a worse record. Michael's been to 6 NBA finals and won all 6 of them. LeBron has been to 10. And so for whatever that's worth, it needs to be worked into the equation. Let's just say Mike played 4 more. Maybe he lost all of those. Now what are we talking about? But we didn't see that. Why? Because there's no way in hell Mike was going to play that long to get to 10 finals. See what I'm saying? So while you listen to Stephen A. Smith and he says stuff like that, I think if you insert that variable, he has to go back to the drawing board. Because at the end of the day, you have to account for an entirely different game that LeBron is playing that Michael Jordan can't even get involved in. And that's the old man playing at a high level game. Kobe can't really get in that either. Although 60 points in this final game, yeah, that ain't to be played with either. But he's up there with Kareem. He's up there with Robert Parrish in that particular category. So incorporate that into your GOAT conversation. Because every GOAT conversation needs to be plucking hairs. It can't be vague. It can't miss details. It can't be kind. It has to take into account old variables, new variables, old stats, new stats that are coming into the game in the future. You better go back and apply those. Like, it's too much to apply. It's too much. You're not going to figure it out right now. So that's what I want to throw out there. But at the end of the day, if we're going to try to figure it out now, Bron's in some trouble because of the fact that today, as evolved as we are up to this particular second point, we're still used to killers, and we want you to be that. And you're not that, so you're not them, and that's not enough. Period. Now, if the next generation comes and tells us, no, we're all like LeBron, we want to be like LeBron, and we hate the killers, and we would have beat the killers, and everybody who comes next to them and, after this era, and if they're a killer and they get beat by a bunch of friendly guys like LeBron, then we know, okay, LeBron changed the game. Now it's not even okay to be a killer. You can't even win that way. Now you got to be friendly ball in order to win. But guess what? Today's evidence shows us that buddy ball is the bane of Bron's situation right now. So he would be better if he were a killer. See what I'm saying? That's what today's data shows us. So rather than to be prisoner of the moment, I just say that the GOAT conversation is still very much inconclusive. I'd say that Michael Jordan's finals record still trumps everything as of right now. But if Bron plays another 5-6 years, can you guarantee he's not going to get to another 2-3 championships? I cannot. Not given what the history's told him. Can't guarantee that. All he has to do is get to the right situation. He can be in the finals for the next 3-4 years. So, where's the GOAT conversation then? If he wins 2-3 more championships, what now? I know a lot of people are going to be quick to rule that out, but I'm telling you, it ain't crazy. All he has to do is go to the right place right now. And I'm not saying I want him to or don't want him to. That's not the conversation. But I'm saying LeBron James can go to Boston, win the next 3 championships. He can go to Miami, win another championship. He can go join Karl Anthony Towns and probably win a championship. Like, there are certain situations that LeBron can go to. You can turn this GOAT conversation around based on the criteria that people are going by. So, I just think Bron, just breathe, man. Don't listen to these people telling you the GOAT conversation's over. Don't listen to them. Because even though you're not in the lead, it's far from over. It's too much to consider that these guys in prisoner of the moment, caught up in today, like today's forever, they ain't going to even be able to think of. They're not going to think of it. But people like myself going to search out that kind of stuff. We're going to try to figure out what we're missing in regards to that conversation. Because at the end of the day, if you ain't splitting hairs, you're not doing it justice. So that's what I got to say about that, man. That's it. I wish Bron the best. Everybody in a great offseason. Don't play no more this season. I don't care how many more games are left. Think about your health. I think a lot of conversation has been detailed about Anthony Davis and LeBron James being between a rock and a hard place in regards to how they're viewed when they play and how they're viewed when they don't. And so I'll incorporate that into this conversation before we leave here. I think that too much has been placed upon the opinions of people like myself and Stephen A. and anybody else that has anything to say about what the players do as it pertains to their health particularly. Your health needs to take precedence over your feelings about what I say. Has to. Because your body is what's going to ultimately lead you to whatever success or failure you go to. So if you run around on a bum ankle because you're concerned about my opinion about you sitting and rehabbing that bum ankle, then your personal goals and priorities are in need of a shift. They need to shift into a different direction. You are pointing in the wrong direction with your personal goals. If you allow my opinion to affect how you rehab. And I heard Anthony Davis say that, and someone alluded to that in regards to LeBron James. I don't think I heard it come out of his mouth, but it was alluded that he was concerned, or that it was some concern around how he's perceived when he doesn't play and when he does, and how they're in between a rock and a hard place. So let me just break this all the way down to this most common denominator. You're a Laker, you're LeBron James, or you're LeBron's co-star. Nothing that these people are going to say is meant to make you look good. They're going to always keep you in between a rock and a hard place, because painting you out to be a negative is going to give them the ratings that they're looking for. So it's always going to be you doing the wrong thing, regardless of what the right thing is, because you're the wrong thing. See what I'm saying? It ain't the thing that's wrong. It's you, in regards to how they're maneuvering the narrative. That's what it is. So I tell a guy like Anthony Davis, if you let somebody's opinion, Skip Bayless' opinion, keep you from rehabbing to get as healthy as you can possibly get, you have got to figure out why the hell that would be the case. Don't let it happen, fam. Your health is the most important thing in the world. I always reference Tim Duncan because I felt like he handled his knee injury better than anybody else. And me and my mother talked about this a lot back in that era. Timmy didn't give one damn about whether or not the San Antonio Spurs wanted him to come back and help save their season. He didn't care. He told them, I'm going to get this knee back to 100%. And I'm going to wait until it does. And I'm not letting anybody tell me otherwise. Just like Kawhi did later on. But Timmy did it first, and Timmy did it in a different way. Timmy's essentially told him, look, man, I'm not coming back till this thing is done. Period. If I feel any discomfort whatsoever, it's not happening. I got a long career ahead of me, and if you guys want me to play 15, 20 years, you're going to need me to get through this year and get through this injury. Who cares what people are writing? You think people weren't writing stuff? Because they had cleared Timmy, if I'm not mistaken, to play. And he said, nah. They were writing all kinds of stuff about Tim Duncan. Oh, he don't want to play, quit on the Spurs. Oh, what are they going to do? How are they going to go forward with this guy? He's not committed, blah, blah, blah. And he went on to have the Hall of Fame career that he did, the greatest power forward to ever play basketball in some people's eyes. I firmly believe he could play the center. LeBron James could be considered a power forward, therefore. But either way, Tim Duncan, man, it's Tim Duncan, bro. Point is, if he would have been worried about what Stephen A. said about him not playing or some stupid crap like that, he would have never been the Tim Duncan we know him to be, because he would have never let that knee heal, and he would have never been able to go on and have the healthy career that he had. Adjust your priorities and your focus as it pertains to knowing what matters most. What matters most for a guy like AD is being healthy. Why being healthy? So you can continue to shut people's mouths. So you can have control over what it is that they say. As long as you're sitting down hurt, they have control over what it is the narrative is. See what I'm saying? Your best defense against that is not to worry about that, but it's to take care of the main thing, as your brother Bron says. The main thing is your health. So any deviance or sway away from the focus of you getting in shape is a problem. And most importantly, it gives us a glimpse into the problem that's always been there, which is a deviation from focus as it pertains to what he should be focusing on in the first place. If he's sitting up here thinking about what other people are thinking instead of what it is he needs to be doing, then obviously it can reflect poorly upon what it is that he's been able to put on the floor up until this point. It's probably why he's always injured, because he's not focused on the right stuff. See, Anthony, you give us a glimpse into your head, bro. Focus on the damn training, not on who's talking about you not being healthy. You know, that they ain't gonna have nothing to say if you're healthy. And while some of those injuries, obviously this year were freak injuries, I could argue some of them injuries could have been avoided if you were a bit more spry. You can get out the way a little quicker. Your reaction time would be a little better. Your balance would be a lot better. Those are things that you need to be dedicated to as a means of responding to what it is that you're hearing. That's what the Kobe's and the Bronze, and since we've been talking about it, that's what the great players do. They take what it is that you give them as motivation and they use it to accomplish their own inner goals. That's what it's about, bro. You got to be self-motivated if you're going to be in this league at that level. Man, a guy like Anthony Davis, he's sitting up here worrying about what he said, she said. Brother, you got $500 million in the bank and you're one of the great players in this league, top 75. If your mind is worried about what Joe Blow say down the street, how the hell did you even get here in the first place? How did you even get to this level of success in the first place? And most importantly, with your talent, how much more success could you obtain if you would refocus and get back on point? As opposed to focusing on who said what and all this other stuff that don't matter at all. People's opinions about you doing stuff that they can't do. Are you serious? I'm 5'10". I can't touch the rim. You worried about what coming out of my mouth? Are you serious? Man, listen. The only thing you should be worrying about in regards to what I'm saying is do not worry about what the hell people saying, bro. Get out there and focus on your routine and getting in shape, redirecting your body to eating better, redirecting your body to do whatever needs to be done, what the professionals tell you to do, to get mind, body, and soul in a position to be able to not only accept whatever needs to be accepted, but to change whatever needs to be changed. And with you, it's health, Anthony. It's health, bro. It's the difference between you being a top 75 player and somebody that we look at shouldn't be paid the type of money that you're making. It's the difference. It's just health, bro. And so, yeah, no, don't listen to nobody ever when it comes as it pertains to, oh, he needs to hurry back, get on the floor. I wouldn't listen to Jeannie Buss herself. If my body ain't trying to run, I ain't gonna go. Because at the end of the day, it's my body. This belongs to you. It don't belong to us. But leave it at that, man. I thank you all for watching. My name is BDL44, and I'm out.